Hello, welcome to the next edition of Thursday's Carnage. And today we're going to be trying out a Neoform deck featuring the brand new Tyrannix Rex. This is really the only dinosaur on the list, but we do have honorable mentions like Soul Flare. I mean, it's kind of a dinosaur because it does get the abilities of dinosaurs. So we'll see if he actually makes this a very fun brew. It's kind of weird, so there's one card that we're unable to play today, but we'll get into that in the deck tech. If you guys like this kind of content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video around if you want. And let's get into it. So for some reason, Mana Traders is having a shortage on Thoughtseize. I don't know why. I can't seem to rent it. But instead, I'm going to try to rest. A lot of the things that this deck probably worries about is not creatures. It's everything else. So we're going to try out to rest, save some life, I guess. As well as we're going to, of course, have everything else in this deck. We have our Neoform, Evolution, Plan, Scheming as a way to throw stuff in our yard. All this stuff helps set up Soul Flare. So that's one plan we could have. We could throw it a Trox away or Rex and get a hasty, Soul Flare 4/4. That's pretty reasonable by itself. And the other option, like I said, we could Mandrills, Soul Flare, or Tassiger, Delve, and then Neoform into Rex or Atroxa. So I think actually Soul Flare makes perfect sense in this deck. It works with both strategies that this deck does try to accomplish. Sideboard wise, we have 2 Dispels for heavy removal matchups. Cases that we have backup plans of Stubborn Denial. Now, if we're in a matchup where Stubborn Denial is not necessarily good because it's an aggro matchup, we'll probably bring in Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy, depending on what the matchup is. We have 4 Lane Line of Sanctity for the Rakdos midrange matchup. And then we have a Baloth as a tutorable thing that we can maybe pitch in the yard. It has Hexproof, which is quite relevant with the haste, and it can't be countered. So it's also decent against counter spells. So even though he doesn't really ever see play, we're going to try him out, see how it goes, and let's get into it. Blooming Marsh, Duress, take Coco, pass the turn. Troxa, play tap land, yo. This hand does not have any setup pieces though to get the Soul Flare down. Tyvar, seems reasonable. Probably gonna minus, yeah, setup. So Abzan, sacrifice, cool. So we'll just play Duress to fill up the yard. Take another Coco, pass the turn. Now he's probably gonna waste his entire turn and get Jug in hand. Goes to combat. Smacks me for 2. Untaps the priest. 1 mana short. Pass the turn. Goes to combat. Doesn't attack. Whoa, Strider. Okay. Not the end of the world. Now he can't. It means he has an active priest now. Alright. He sacks a couple things to draw a card and add mana. Cutthroat. Extraction Specialist to get it back. Passes. Again, I can't do anything with it. Pass the turn. Minus his Tyvar to get back us some Voice of Resurgence. 3 collected companies are in the yard. Sacks Priest, drains us. It seems so backwards. He should be attacking before he's doing all this. Because that would have been 2 extra points of damage on attack. And then at the end step, you could have, or second main, you could have done all this. Extraction Specialist to get back the Voice. Alright, Dak, come on. Another Priest. He sacks 2 more. Alright, Dak, I don't think we're going to get there. We just could not find any setup piece. Now he goes attacking. He would have had lethal this turn, and we're at 1, and we draw a Troxa, which does nothing. I think Stubborn Denial is not very useful in this matchup. Probably bring in Abrupt Decay. That technically, I think, shuts off Priest, but I think that's it. I don't like that. Darkslick Shores. Ague. Blooming Marsh. Passes. Gaze. Graveyard. Graveyard. This is tricky. I need double green. So I can do this in 1 turn. Alright, we'll keep. Botanical Sanctum. Yeah. Now we get to do this next turn. Probably get the T-Rex. Secluded Courtyard. Voice of Resurgence. So I think now I gaze. Graveyard. 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 Breeding Pool. Untapped. Hoot. And since we are on Thursday's Carnage, we will get the Rex. Get him, boy. Pop ya. Alright, he's at 9. So I don't think there's a world where unless he can play Tyvar down tick, get Priest. But even then he can't use Priest this turn. So hopefully our Rex sticks. Tyvar, no attacks, passes. All right. We don't have double black for this, so we'll... Okay, he scoops it up. Run it back. Mana Confluence. Elf. Passes. That's not what I was hoping for. So we will attempt to duress you. Take Thoughtseize. Pass the turn. So he has a Sin Collector. We do need some sort of surveil going on here. He's probably going to play Sin Collector right now. Yeah, takes my Neoform. That's like a horrible top deck. Play the land, pass the turn. Voice of Resurgence. Voice of Resurgence. Smacks me, sure. 18? Come on, deck. Give me something with Surveil. Okay, I guess that works. Pass the turn. Even if I did draw land, I want it to be a green source, but this might be slipping away from me. For 7 to 11, tap Thicket. Abrupt Decay. Play Watery Grave tapped. Killing these makes it hurt more, so I think snipe him down. Pass the turn. The next turn I can play Soul Flare, which might not be enough, but Courtyard I think is right here. Rex is not a good top deck at all. Alright, play Soul Flare. Pass the turn. So he has 1 unknown card, 2 unknown cards now. Yeah, makes sense. You should attack with that too. Why not? Makes a 3/3 token. Plague Crafter. Alright. Yeah, I think that means we lose. Plays a tap land. A Blooming Marsh. I mean, that is way too late. Scoop it up. So we're 0-1. Let's get into the next. Watery Grave. Untapped. Pass the turn. Hydra. Gaze. Graveyard. Graveyard. Top. Tomb. Untapped. Scheming. I want to land. That works. Pass the turn. Another lair. Overgrown Tomb. Untapped. Green. Hoot. And we will keep the Gaze and the Rex in there. Hoot away. The Neoform the Hoot. Grab the Dino. Go to combat. Smash that face. Seems good. A Crowan War. Thankfully you can't target it. Dark Slick Shores. Go to combat. Hit you with a dinosaur. We have a denial for protection, so that's good. Even on top of the ward. Pass the turn. Questing Beast. That resolves. Scoops it up against mono green. I guess decay over the denial. No, actually over the duress. Now duress at least I guess I could use. Fill up my yard, so that's probably better. I don't like that. Layer of the Hydra. Another abrupt decay. Play Blooming Marsh. Ship the turn. Pathway. Elf hits me. Alright. Now the question is, do I want to plan this turn or leave up abrupt decay? I think I want to go for it. I do actively, the only thing I care about is a green source. So that's Graveyard. I don't see a Neoform. So that's another green. So I could this, but that's 2 turns away. So I think I just do that. That's fine. Pass the turn. Pathway on green. Luca. Down takes it. Makes a 3/3 toxic. Passes. Play the Blooming Marsh. Play Hoot. And leave up a decay. Pass the turn. Makes another Toxic Beast. Makes some tokens. Plays a Mountain. He has 2 mana available. And if he doesn't attack with this elf, that tells me what he has. Probably Obliterating Bolt. Alright, no attack for the opponent. Green, black, abrupt decay. Let's just do an elf. That way he has less mana on my turn. Evolution. Grab Atraxa. Get a decay. A duress. Mana Confluence. Neoform. I don't really want a creature, so that's fine. Pass the turn. So it almost fails because Soul Flare, potentially, and Neoform that, especially if he has a removal for Atraxa. He has a West Vale Abbey. That's sweet. Oh my god. A 9/7. Oi, that's really good. Minuses makes a 3/3. How do I get through the 9/7? By block. It's just not worth it, right? I can attack back for 7. Gaze. Mana Confluence. Play the Gaze. Graveyard. 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 Soul Flare. Green. Blue. Neoform. Get the Dino. Go to combat. Face. Luca? No. Yes, Luca. Maybe I should reverse that. This at least says toxic and it's more to the face. I guess that would have been better. All right, so he's at 22. We're at 16. Another Luca. Upticks Luca. Elf. Now the question is, does he attack me with the indestructible 9/7? Does? Take it. So our best bet, I guess, at this point is to win by toxic. Black, green, abrupt decay. Green, black, abrupt decay. Go to combat. Hit him. Hit Luca. Yep. Four poison. Should have done that reverse. He would be at 8 right now. Which this will trample over the indestructible dude. Elf. That's fine. Bone Crusher Giant. Does he go in the attack again? He does not. So that means I can afford to gaze. Graveyard. 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 Evolution. Attack with both. My plan is to win by poison this time. Okay. So that means he has to beat me this turn. Can he do that? We can gaze twice to find the best card on top. He draws a land. That's safety. We need to get rid of the Bone Crusher Giant. He attacks out. That's fine. We gaze. Graveyard. Graveyard. Top. Pat will take our beats down to 6. What does he have to say about dying on the backswing? Yeah, that's fine. Soul Flare. Doesn't matter what I eat. I'm going to win by double dinosaurs. 2 T-Rexes. Go to combat. Smack you to death. Ah, the T-Rex win, baby. You just have trample. So you had to leave him back. But even then, like, it just doesn't add up. Blooming Marsh. Go. Hoping this doesn't hurt. I kept this hand because I thought I had enough of colors I want with scheming. If he had Thoughtseize, that would be horrible. Looks like Thoughtseize might be inbound. Elf. That's fine. I can care less about an elf. Soul Flare. That's like a good top. That's a really good top deck. So we will scheming. Put all these lands to the graveyard. And Stubborn Denial. Keep the plan. Pass the turn. So we play the Darkslick Shores and we have 2 of every color. All right, he scoops up the game. I'm assuming this is Tyvar. Sack. Swap out the Denial for the Decays. Or like that. Okay. Elf. Gaze. Graveyard. Graveyard. Top. Pass the turn. Concealed Courtyard. Woe Strider. I figured it was this. See if we can't take this game and closes it out with a 2-1 record. Play the land, pass the turn. Next, we can gaze. Hopefully that means we have the mana. We have to pitch everything, I think, in the graveyard. Then we go for the win, unless he has a Thoughtseize. But I assume he's probably going to go for a Coco here. We'll see. That really will determine based on if he attacks with this elf. He doesn't. I think Coco's inbound. All right, we cannot do sim through that. So graveyard, graveyard, graveyard. Overgrown Tomb. Untapped. Hoots. Hootie McGee. Green. Blue. Neoform. We'll get a Troxa. All right, here comes the Coco. This is actually not a very good Coco, right? Because if we see the Priest, we will maybe potentially change our options. Especially since I think Dinosaur is just better on that state. I don't see a Priest, so we will continue to go with the Troxa. All right, sacks a goat, something like that. I don't know what he sacked. Sacks a goat. Now, the one downside about a Troxa here is the lifelink is irrelevant, except for on the back attack. Watery Grave, Soul Flare, Neoform, Passager. In order to say that, because whatever we block, if he attacks, he is going to sack it. So we don't get lifelink. Now the good part here is that means he needs Tyvar and Priest. He does not decide to attack. He just passes, which is fine with me. So we play a Watery Grave tapped. We have a Decay up. And if he does manage to answer a Troxa, we do have a Soul Flare. Smack you. Pass the turn. So here comes another Collected Company. We will hit the Priest right here. Sin Collector. So that means we will go for it right now. Black, green. Abrupt Decay, the Cutthroat. That should reduce his ability to, deal a lot of damage in one turn. All right, so that forces him to sack, which is good. That's fine. Go ahead and take the Neoform. So now if he answers my Atroxa, except we have this to get all the abilities, which might be enough to win the game. So he can have Tyvar plus Priest. That is his best move, and we are kind of scared of it. He does have, just an elf. We will play Soul Flare probably next turn, just as a sacrifice buffer. Voice of Resurgence. He should attack. Nothing can block this thing, so should get 5 points of damage across, but he doesn't. All right, so I can't do both. So I think I just stick with Soul Flare. Just play a tapped Breeding Pool. So that is my Assurance. A 1 of priest does not beat me. So we hit him down to 5. Pass the turn. He sacks an elf. Trying to find a good answer for the situation. If all else fails, we will just evolution this thing. Get a dino? Probably not. He has enough on board, I think, to prevent most of that damage. He's continuing to sack his board, puts everything on bottom. He's had 3 temps so far. He untaps. Did you draw what you're looking for? Come on down to this. He might be getting a 2-1. We beat this deck and we lost to this deck. GG's. He gave me the GG's. Yes, 2-1. Let's get into the wrap up. So what did we learn this week about this deck? And this deck felt pretty solid. Even without Thought Seizes compared to the Duress, we still managed to pull a 2-1, which is actually pretty good. That just shows the power of how consistently you can combo off of this deck. I do actively kind of wonder if I want a couple more schemings, because there was some points of the game where I just never found the necessary piece to start surveilling. So that is something I might want to look into. Outside of that, let me know what other things you guys would suggest down in the comments. And until next time, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day.